President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, may we welcome Dr. Julius. Complex and safe Edwards. Please put your hands together. I also want to inform us that after very, very insightful speeches, we will be transiting into a panel discussions led by young people. But we also want to thank those who made this very possible. And we especially appreciate our sponsors, Marginal Energy. Please put your hands together for that. We also want to especially appreciate Media Empire and Sierra Leone Broadcast Corporation for being our media partners. Please clap for them. We also thank all our strategic partners for being a part of what we do. Please, everyone who's part of this, from our vendors to our technical crew, to our media partners, please celebrate them with a round of applause. So we're going into the main business. And when we talk to young people, it's really important. I met a young man once and I told him that he should start a business. He said yes, he's been thinking about it, but he needed a loan. So I said, what kind of loan do you need? And what kind of bank? He told me the amount and he said, I need this kind of bank. I said, really? He said, yes. He said, I need a bank that will give me a loan and leave me alone. I said, there's no such bank. Alright, they told me that the stage is set. We're trying to just remove the surfacing items from the masquerade body and just clean them now and return to the masquerade. So very quickly we will invite our panel of discussants, young people who have had experience, who have foresight thinking, who have challenged the waves, and they are ready to take the baton. So one of them, of course, very quickly, is a member of the National Steering Committee of the African Youth Movement in Kenya. He's also the Secretary General of the University of Nairobi Students Association. He's a voice, he's a strong man. He looks a little fragile, but when you engage him, you know he's an intellectual giant. Let's welcome Ramesh Sakzena. Please put your hands together. May I also welcome the founder of Inbound Media, Botswana, the communication and PR expert. She's a podcast host, storyteller. She's amplifying African stories of innovation, culture, entrepreneurship, and youth leadership. Please, let's welcome Gofa Mpisi. Also, we have a young Tanzanian media professional, event host, and producer of youth-driven content that informs, engages, and inspires audiences across Africa. She is the camera to the globe. Let's welcome Aziza Dumali Abdullah. I'm the moderator for this panel, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's homegrown, but with global influence. She's a legal practitioner and sustainability expert. She served as consultant and advisor to the permanent representative of Sierra Leone to the UN, and also served as the permanent mission of Namibia to the UN. She is the managing director of Environmental and Social Safeguards ESS Consultant Limited, Sierra Leone. Please let's welcome Jane Flea Sapko. Please put your hands together. So ladies and gentlemen, this panel is rich, is strong, and is able to transform and transit from what we are expecting in potentials and to the real issues of power. As she sits down, she'll take over and immediately start the business of the day. I'll ask us again to put our hands together for them.
Good afternoon. Your Excellency, Mr. President, Madam First Lady, standing on protocols already observed, distinguished guests, colleague young leaders, ladies and gentlemen. This fourth panel focuses on the theme from potential to power, unlocking youth agency for Africa's transformation. Africa is a continent of immense youthful potential. However, our transformational leader, His Excellency President Bureau, believes that potential alone does not transform societies. Therefore, the real question before us today is, how do we convert youthful potential, energy, innovation, and ambition into real influence, leadership, and transformation. According to the UNFPA, 60% of Africa's population is under the age of 25. The African Development Bank projects that Africa's population will exceed 830 million by the year 2050. Africa does not lack talented young people. The real challenge then is whether our systems, our institutions, and leadership structures are prepared to trust young people. To start this panel, we're going to ground ourselves in the theme. Youth agency is not simply about participation. It is about voice, action, influence, and the ability of young people to shape systems, policies, economies, and society. Young people are no longer merely teens, and young people are no longer asking to merely be included. They're asking to help shape Africa's future. To kickstart, in 1 minute each to my panelists, I've asked, what does true youth agency look like in Africa today? And what does moving from potential to power personality mean? I'll start with Bola.
She's watching with me because of the woman wearing white. And they all coordinated their outfits. I hope I'm audible. Am I audible? Yes. Wonderful. First of all, thank you all for inviting me, and of course the organizers and the president. I've never been to an African event hosted by African, including all African regions. This is the first in my time, in my experience, and I applaud you all. I'm very weird chef, but I'll take it. I will start off by saying they don't prepare me for the long walk to freedom here. It's very overwhelming. I think the leaders that have stepped forward here have a lot of experience. But like the key word we've been hearing, the resounding word being courage. So it took a lot of courage for me to get here. And so your question would be, what does true agency look like for young people? I'll simply say that it goes beyond participation. With every generation of youth, we've always, I think, I'll personify an African say, because Africa is a youthful nation, Africa as a person is a young person. Somewhat rebellious, cannot be understood, always courageous, a little rebellious, but for those who understand, they are commissioned and unctioned to do the impossible and to go beyond potential. And so I want to say that it's not in us just participating, but being co-owners, to be involved in the conversations, to be involved in policy and decision making. It's honorable and commendable to see these young ministers go on stage. It's absolutely amazing. A couple of years ago, generations ago, it's something we never saw. And so I would simply say that for me as an African from Botswana, I can simply say that youth agency means as African youth moving beyond being beneficiaries of the future to becoming co-owners of its present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up to you, Alish, as someone who's been involved in youth politics and who aspires to enter international politics, what does moving from potential to power personally mean to you?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here in Sierra Leone. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak about Africa while seeing Africa, both through my eyes and through the eyes of my fellow youths who come from different countries to share about Africa. Our forefathers, while looking at society, said that a child that is not embraced by the village will soon vanish to fill its home. To me, nothing can speak about the urgency of the African Youth Agency than that statement. It warns us that if our institutions cannot evolve faster than the frustrations of the youth, then we are headed to trouble. My country, Kenya, was almost a victim in 2024, where the youth of the nation came for a pro-good governance protest. In all the chaos, one thing that I picked, the message that the youth had, was that the true youth agency does not ask if we were invited. It asks if our voices were captured in the outcomes. It is not just about visibility of the youth, but responsibility given to them to make systems right for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. As I've been introduced before, my name is Aziza and I'm representing Tanzania. Please allow me to borrow your time and just to ask my fellow youth inside to put our hands together to congratulate Mr. President. This is not just an event. This is an unforgettable event. I'm from Tanzania. Where I am from, we have a different stage for youth. We came together, we talk, we speak, we listen, and we be here. And I saw this coming in Sierra Leone. As I speak before, my fellow friends that were talking about, as we've been asking this question, I'll just add to their answer for saying this, as personally, moving from potential to power means turning ideas that talent and ambition into real impact. Young Africans are often described as the future, but I believe we are also represent. Power means having the confidence, resources, and platforms to lead now, create opportunities for others, and use our voices to drive meaningful change.
Thank you very much. Now that we've grounded ourselves on the theme, we'll move on to a very important topic, that is the challenges and barriers. Africa's youth population represents both a major opportunity and a major responsibility. Yet, despite innovation, creativity, ambition, many young Africans continue to face structural barriers that limit their ability. With your work in media and content, do you think Africa's education and social systems are adequately preparing young people?
Thank you so much, Jane. I myself, personally, I can say that, and please allow me to speak this openly, as we all know that Africa does not have an education problem. Africa has a relevance problem. Our education system, we are built for a world, not that longer exists. And I would just say this from my country. We've been having that problem from different peoples and employees. That was just saying that there was just a problem with youth with certificates. They are graduating, but they don't have skills. The problem is we've been raised maybe to learn and getting examination scores, but not learning and understanding the skills that get us going to work for. That's the one that. And as we are doing in Tanzania, let us invest in practical skills-based learning that we see young people, where they are on their phones, in their communities, in the creative industry. But let us stop measuring education only by examination scores and start measuring it by the enterprise, innovation, and solution our graduates create.
Thank you very much, Aziza. As see our young people are very excited about children. And so young people need skills as much as we go to school and get things like that. But we also require certain skills to add on to that. Ganesh, from your experience in student leadership, what are the biggest barriers preventing African youth from moving from potential to power, particularly in moving from youth inclusion to youth population in governance and leadership?
Thank you. That's a very good question. I'll speak to two challenges I have seen in my experience as a youth leader and a student leader. The first problem is structural. We have inclusion that is only symbolic, but is not true. Across Africa, across countries in Africa, we have systems that bring youth on board just to tick boxes, but do not see them as real partners in the struggle to develop. I have seen and I have shared with my fellow youth, and they are saying that across Africa, we have national youth councils that are not funded and lack autonomy. It means that the youth of Africa cannot speak to the problems that face the youth of Africa in Africa, and that is a big problem. The second barrier I have seen is economic barrier. I'll admit that it is very difficult for me to speak about the advancement of the African youth when the majority of the African youth do not have access to quality education. The majority of the African youth, their lived reality is that they do not have the financial muscle to innovate freely, to start businesses, and even to run for offices. And that, to me, is a very big problem. And I'll say that governments need to meet the youth at their local levels. Because as many speakers before us said, we do not lack ideas, we can innovate. It is for the government to come and help us with the local innovations that we have and integrate them into the national policy execution. Again, I'll say that because we are speaking about Africa, and because we are saying that the challenges or the problems of the African youth are interconnected, it then means that the solutions of the African youth are interconnected. And so I urge the government to help African youth to visit countries, to give them platforms where they can share, so that we can transfer local solutions that have worked in Sierra Leone to Ethiopia. We can transfer local solutions that have worked in Uganda to Namibia. And in finishing, I do not want to sound like I am lamenting. I am alive to the fact that we got here through struggle and we have made many steps. As we sit here, this alone is excellence, and I shall not leave here without thanking the President, Dr. Julius, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Two things stood out. Inclusion, and not only symbolic, but should be experience sharing. Thank you very much, Ganesh. Dr. Hane, digital innovation is transforming Africa rapidly. What barriers continue to limit youth innovation and entrepreneurship?
Thank you, Jane. Before I answer your question, I think Ramesh cemented a really brilliant point. And just recently, the President of the Republic of Botswana, my beloved country, was doing an interview with the BBC Africa, and he simply said African youth must solve African problems. And so I think having this young man right next to me and having these very vigorous youth in the audience, it shows that we have the capacity. But it takes me back to what I said initially, and further cemented that we cannot be checkboxes anymore. It's great to be here on this panel, but what happens afterwards? What happens beyond affirmative action and beyond dialogue? And so, to go back to your question, I think there's several barriers that happen when it comes to entrepreneurship and innovation amongst African youth, from access to finance, various structures, and so on. But one that I think that we all need to be honest about, especially because it's something that I don't think many of us have noticed, is the digital economy. So just to show you, how many of us are on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok? Just a show of hands. Don't lie because we get teachers again. Right. And so every time you see something on social media, you see someone hit 5 million views, you see a friend of yours or a local influencer, I want you to be faced with the reality that what you're witnessing is economic extraction from our continent, because we do not own these platforms. We do not own Facebook. Who owns Facebook? We all get sued. You can say it then. Mark Zuckerberg. We don't own X, formerly known as Twitter. We don't own Instagram. We don't own TikTok. We don't own ChatGPT. None of these platforms are African produced or African owned. And so what that then means is that the information that's being pushed from the global north has a tendency of influencing us as Africans. We have rented influence. And so in this digital era, in this digital age, it's important to understand that the currency is information. Who's sharing this information? The farm that he's talking about in East Africa and Kenya, I knew about it in Botswana and Southern Africa because of social media. And the young people who were lamenting and sharing their struggles. To say that I do not know what's happening, to share that this is what's happening with our government, we do not feel that we are heard. We are asking for you Africans to support us so that we are further heard and they make sure. From West Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, social media, the digital economy is where we need to have ownership at. And so it's so important for us to understand that as young people and as creatives, and I'm sure all of us have, you may not necessarily think you're the most creative person here, but I promise you, as an African, you are inherently creative. It's within your blood. And so what's important is for governments and parastatals and private institutions to fund and create systems and platforms that empower us young people. Innovation structure, not just a platform where we can talk and say this is what I want to create, or you can showcase what you want to create and you don't get the financing for it so that you can get better money for you to do the research that's required for your innovative product. There's so much when it comes to the process of innovation, and it needs a lot of funding. The digital economy, for us to be co-owners of it, we need the funding. And I do implore the government and the institutions that are here to think this through, to see how can we create a platform, create a space for young people to innovate. We heard,
And before I let you go, I just wanted you to touch quickly on the role public-private partnership should play in unlocking the potential.
Yeah. So I think it's very important that we understand that for the public, private and public sector, it's important that we don't only just invest in traditional industries. We know the various traditional industries, but it's so important that you know that right now what's happening, and to be very frank and honest with all of you here, the global north, the youth, That's fine. They are parts of happiness. But they're no better than that because of their skin. They're no better than that. We are as high, if not better. And I'm sorry for saying that, but that's my belief. And so it's very important that we create these structures, that we invest. It's not a one-time affair. It will take decades, but we must invest in that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the insightful discussion on challenges and barriers. Because if we were to solve issues, we cannot solve a problem without discussing the challenges and the barriers, or without discussing the problem. So thank you very much for your submission. Now I want us to talk about recommendations and the way forward. Africa's youth board can either become Africa's greatest dividend or its greatest missed opportunity. Ramesh, how can governments create real leadership opportunities for young people while ensuring that marginalized and rural youth are not left behind?
Okay, I'll be very brief with my recommendations. So one, I'll say that the governments across Africa need to institutionalize, to put youth leadership into the institutions of those countries or across Africa. I am saying that the youth need to be placed in rooms where policies are being discussed and passed. Youth need to be placed in organizations or councils that are well funded and are given the autonomy to speak without victimization. Second, I'll say that it is upon the government to provide the tools of success to our youth. This includes quality education for our youth, and also they have to empower them financially. I won't really finish without mentioning or highlighting the last part of her question, the part of inclusion. We are saying that it is a catastrophe to exclude the youth of Africa from development of Africa. But then there is a part that we have to be alive to. While we were mobilizing in Kenya in 2024 for the pro-good governance protest, we noticed that the urban youth moved at a speed that was higher than the rural youth. The tragedy in this is that the youth are the majority, yet in this youth majority, the rural youth are the majority. And so, we cannot move with the urban elites and leave the rural youth hanging. True youth empowerment cannot just be in Nairobi, in Freetown, or in Addis, but leave the youth in the countryside that still grapple with lack of access of infrastructure, lack of access of education, lack of access to internet. And so governments have to find a way to empower youth both in the urban centers and youth in the rural centers.
Thank you very much, Rich. We cannot move forward with only the urban elites and leaving behind the rural youth. To you as a nurse, what systems or approaches do you believe are most effective in helping young entrepreneurs, creatives, and innovators scale their impact across Africa? And are there any personal experience, successful youth-led models that you like to discuss with us?
Thank you. I believe that, thanks for Madam First Lady, she cited before that the time is now. In everything we are doing as youth, we are not going to say that we are thinking about tomorrow. The time is tomorrow. The time is now. Why I say the time is now? our parents, our president, they was just working to create a future for us. And we've been learning from them. That's why we say they created a legacy in our hearts, which wanted us to become a young leader, to become a person we can help our countries in one way or another. I will tell you why. He was asking about my experience for my dad. When I was young, I was just saying that I want to be someone who will make a change to my community, my society. Why this happens? It was that I was just living in a community that there's a lot of ladies living outside my country. You know, there's one of the places in our country called Kagera. There's a lot of people, they just always have that mentality that all educated people, they don't have to stay in their countries, you know. So in our street, there was a lot of ladies who were just working outside the country. So when I was young, I was just saying, I don't want to go outside the country, but I just want to make a change in my country. That was the mindset I was having, a leadership in me. But one of my brother told me that, you know what, leaders not starting with leading others, it's starting with you. So dear youth, I know we have a lot of passions. We want to be somewhere. We want to do something. One thing we can just do to make sure that we get to what we want to be. We want to create a youth leader, a upcoming leader. It's standing with one thing called discipline. In any approach you want to approach for government, in an approach you want to approach anywhere for decision makers, discipline is the rule. Put it first, it will help you to make sure that you get what you want to go. I will tell you the other things, like if you think that you want to do something, you have an idea, you can be a decision maker, you can be a game changer. The time is now, by putting God first, discipline, and speak politely when you present they call it also in our country, when you present your opinions to governments. Governments listen immediately. When you saw government and just quiet, don't think that they are not working on what you're thinking. They know how to work on it. So we have to approach it politely. As long as we know that where we want to go, we have to approach it politely. I saw the future in youth. I saw the change in youth. I believe that when we are going to stand together as our country, Tanzania, Sierra Leone, Botswana, Kenya, and all from any countries, what we want to face is to put our country first, our continent first, and to believe that the future is now.
Echoing the First Lady and answers that the future is now. But Pahone, quickly to you, how can technology democratize opportunity for African youth? And what role should AI play?
Thanks, Jane. So technology, as we should know, has the power to remove barriers of access, geography, and so on. Because with technology, we are able to democratize opportunity. And so the problem then is that Africans are mostly consumers and not co-workers. And so I wanted to say, just a brief story, and I'll answer your question as quick as I can.
Just a few sentences, because we're running out of time.
Closing that. So in my country, in Botswana, there was an initiative to ensure that there were internet hotspots. So it was a situation to say no one should be left behind in this digital economy, in this digital era. And so hotspots were being created. So there was free internet access. There is still free internet access in public areas such as public schools, hospitals, etc. So everyone had access to the internet. And so as you're talking about technology now, it's important to understand that the first step is in infrastructure. To have supporting infrastructure to ensure that everyone has access to internet and has the utilities in order to use the internet, in order to research, so that in essence we can be co-players in the digital economy as well. And so yes, technology has the power to connect all these different regions of Africa, but also at the same time, like good Ramesh has been saying here and I'll keep referencing it, we can't have the rural left behind. So we do need to create infrastructure to ensure that we're moving at a fast pace because the world is moving very, very fast. And we can't be left behind.
Thank you very much. And distinguished audience, kindly join me in thanking our panelists. What we are asking is Africa does not lack talent, creativity, innovation, or ambition among its young people. What is required now is trust, investment, opportunity, and meaningful inclusion. Africa's transformation will not happen for young people. It must happen with young people leading it. I thank you. And before we leave, kindly permit me, on behalf of this panel, to wish His Excellency President Julius Maada a beautiful and wonderful happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. Please, let's put our hands together. I don't think this applause is good. You know, it's not easy to be on the panel. And these young people have demonstrated that they can. And showing that if you even allow them to run for office or to occupy the office, just without elections, they can also do it. Please clap for them. Summary is that they say, get us involved. Urban and rural youth. We need infrastructure. I was part of a panel that interviewed a group of people for a job. And we picked one guy because his CV had the fact that he went to Harvard. But when we called him to come resume, I just asked him, I said, you said in your CV that you went to Harvard, but you didn't state what course you went to study. So he looked at me and said, sir, I really went to Harvard, but I went to visit them. For those of us who are here, I want to tell you that we also are going to have a very wonderful concert after the close of the ceremony. So we have one more panel, we have a poet, we have a few things. Important among them is that we'll cut a cake, but above all, when the older people will leave us, we'll have a very wonderful concert. If you ask me, I can ask you to tell me who the best musician in Sierra Leone is, I will get them here. But we have two already. We have one of them, of course, who is LXG. Do you know him? You're not excited. Do you know LXG? Sure, he's going to be here with us, and we're going to be dancing. Do you know Ambassador Carl Guerrero? Okay, now we're talking. Now, I'm hearing some other people say they want to join. Well, the more the merrier. We're going to have fun together, but they're going to be here after the closing ceremonies. So please don't hurry anywhere. You want some more? Yes, if we can't get them here, we promise you the DJ will play like something. You know, distinguished guests, we are celebrating the birthday of the president. And it's important that we are relaxed and we enjoy ourselves. A woman told her husband once, she said, I had a dream that on my birthday, you bought for me a Bentley. You gave me gold watch, pearl for necklace, and a big box. And the husband said, well, let's wait for your birthday. On the birthday, he gave her a box. It wasn't a big one, it was a small box. And by the time the woman opened it, there was no gold, no Bentley in it, but there was a book. And the title of the book was How to Interpret Dreams. Well, our next panel is very, very important. They are dreamers, they have challenged the status quo, and they are already getting results. They will be talking to us about rising with purpose, shaping Africa's future through youth leadership and action. May I therefore invite one of the panelists that we can bring them together. He's a creative strategist, transformational leader. He's driving health systems in Africa. He's a digital mind with an expanded vision. He's a futurist with a positive mindset. He's from Nigeria, but is indeed a global citizen. Let's welcome Julius Maada. Please put your hands together for him. Also with us today on this panel is a creative and critic, founder and director at Labrum for the board. Please put your hands together. Also with us is a top-rated student, respected student leader, mentor already to a lot of young people, declared here as to what Africa truly will look like in the future. Here, courageous, president of the National Union of Students, you are my fifth level to them. Ladies and gentlemen, the moderator for this panel, a little afraid of water, but afraid of nothing else. She is, of course, a very, very positive-minded person, calm, gentle, but committed and dedicated. A member of the Ugandan Muslim Women Civilization Initiative. Let's welcome Sharifa Sheyu. Please put your hands together. Another panel, another set of wonderful young Africans. Another reason to look inward and say, Africa can truly make it. The future is indeed bright, whether it's now or tomorrow. These people are ready to take over. Please put your hands together for the panel. Please go on.
Distinguished guests, I enter women and girls today. Happy to be here. Honored to be here. Going forward, shaping Africa's future through unpack our design. Purpose based action, joined by leaders, Julius Maada, coded the way of Julius Maada, baby strategists from Nigeria. We had to build this policy. Had the earlier panelists, they spoke about different ideas and policies. The panelists talk about different actions. I was asked today why, as a Ugandan, I need a visa to travel to Sierra Leone. It's always about doing actions to see how we should go about our as a student leader, I know you have different stories from students after Sierra Leone. What does rising in power mean to you?
Hello, my name is Yuna Gaima, the first female president of National Union of Students. So, what does rising with purpose mean practically for African youth today? Rising with purpose, it means aligning personal ambition with continental goals, like the Agenda for 2060 and the Sustainable Development Goal. Practical rising with purpose means us student leader providing so our our fellow students diligently and efficiently. Rising with purpose is that we as student leaders, we don't wait to be part of the table, we bring the table for ourselves. Rising with purpose, it means serving without us not receiving salaries, without most of us receiving office spaces, but we are delivering for our fellow student leaders. Rising with purpose, it means that the government, the parastatals, the institutions, the private sector need not just to make us as corporate social responsibilities, they need to make us as co-ownership of their project line, because we as young people coming from the universities, we have vibrant ideas, we have solutions, we are very active, but we don't have the capacity to put those ideas into practical use. So I know from today, we will have practical solutions, and that solution will not stay there alone. That solution will be implemented in Sierra Leone, because I know our president is capable and is determined to see that youth are in the front line. The future belongs. The future does not belong to those who prepared tomorrow. It's for those who prepared for it today. So if we want to be part of change, we need to be part of the decision-making table. Thank you very much.
So, just in action. When you see just one action, the youth out there, tomorrow.
The youth in this room, it is high time we take up ownership that Sierra Leone belongs to us. We have the capacity that we have as youth. If we put it together without division, without no political interference, we say this is the time for us to rise. Then Sierra Leone will become it, because we are one of the people that contribute meaningfully to society, meaningfully to our communities, and meaningfully to economic progress. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for your contribution. I think that was really valid. Sitting there hearing him, he makes me feel proud, because the youth are taking things in their own hands, and they're thinking about how can the future be materialized. I would say from my point of view, it's like sometimes we always wait for government to make a decision for us. The government cannot do everything for us. I think we need to be proactive in doing things. Like, I remember the first time I met His Excellency, the idea, the things that he told me, the love they have for youth, that always stay with me. It's like, he cares. He might not say it every day, but he cares. He works behind the scene a lot to bring this thing to life. And I've seen it firsthand when I talk to him about ideas or things that I wanted to do. He can't carry everything, but he will put things in place. The people that actually were there to those things that need to be done. He does that. He cares. And that's why I do what I do, to support whatever he does and to support the youth in this country. But we can't just rely on him to do that. We have a responsibility to do that as youth. We know what we want. He's not 15, he's not 20 anymore. He's not going to see the way we see things. So we need to highlight these things for him to be able to create infrastructures for us to be able to get to where we want to get to as youth. So that's why it's imperative that we work together as youth to support each other, not to go against each other. And that's the only advice that I would give young kids. It's like, learn about each other, what each other's doing, and what you want to do in the future. Each and every one of you knows something. Or, I won't say we'll be clever than each other, but you have to learn from each other's differences. And you'll be able to live in harmony and support each other. And if we have that in Sierra Leone, I think it will be a better place for us. As you, we need to be together, support each other. What I'm doing is I bring opportunity to the people that actually want it in Sierra Leone, like the youth. If you want to do something in terms of fashion, sports, you reach out to me. If I can't help you, I'll create a link for you to find a way to do something that will better yourself. Because I know you guys are the future. If you see each other doing something, if you're going to learn from that, I want to be that person. I want to emulate what they're doing, so I'm going to push it a little bit more. That's why we need to find drivers among us that can drive all these ideas that we have. Just don't wait for the government. Don't rely on them all the time. They will support you once you start walking. They can't take everyone from the bottom here. People need to start something, and then they will come and help you.
Yes, an African Youth Convergence strategy. The youth here have the potential, they have the ideas, but they fail to turn it into real power. So what barriers do you think are stopping the African youth from turning their potential into real power?
Thank you very much. So I'll share 3 things that come to mind that hinder young people from translating potential to action. And the first is gatekeeping. Now, I'm sure everyone here has heard this statement at one point or the other in your life. Power is not given, it's taken. Now, it's contextually true, and I believe has served its purpose at some time in our history. However, for where we want to go, there is a need for gatekeepers, for leaders, to open the door for young people, bring them to the corridors of power, give them a seat at the table, and model transformational leadership up close to them. Just like Her Excellency rightly said, that leaders have to trust young people, because trust is an investment, and they also have to trust those who are leading, that they will do it right. So the first barrier for young people translating potential into action is gatekeeping. The second barrier is a lack of mentorship at scale. Across Africa, we have transformational leaders. However, in comparison to the ever-increasing population, you'll see that there is a large gap. Something that comes to mind is when we compare healthcare workers and patients, and you look at the ratio. It's, there's a gap. And so we need all hands to be on deck. All hands on deck to ensure that young people are mentored. Much better, and to be more effective, we will need systems of mentorship. I believe currently we have a few systems in Africa for mentorship, but more of the systems are Western systems that are not built totally for our context. And I even believe that many of those opportunities have become pathways through which we lose some of our brightest minds. And so we need African mentorship systems, mentorship for African youth by African leaders. And I want to thank His Excellency Dr. Julius for being a visionary and doing exactly that. We need more of people doing this. And the final barrier I'd like to share, and it concerns every young people here, is focus. When anyone lacks focus, you're unable to see opportunity. And even when you see it, you cannot take advantage of the opportunity, because focus is needed for you to build the prerequisite skills to leverage opportunity that is available to you. And so for everybody here, listening to me, every young person, I want you, again, Her Excellency shared that young people are pursuing visibility, right, at the expense of, having substance. I want you to ensure that your focus is singular, and doing that will help you scale quite a number of hurdles on your journey to purpose. Thank you.
student leader. We hear students here, most of them are student leaders. They have ideas, they have policies, but their voices are not heard. So what should we do with the leadership decision-making room? Thank you.
So, from moving from the margin to the center of decision making, all we need is that we shift symbolic roles to one youth led on a board. That is inclusion. We have various boards in this country, and we have a lot of young people that are coming out from the university. All this thing is, what I'm seeing is that there is no trust. They think that we are inexperienced, we don't have the capacity. But how can you think that we coming from the university can have 5 years of experience to apply for jobs? It is not possible, because we don't have part-time jobs. So if we are being included into some activities that we are coming from the university, then we will have the know-how. We know that we have the knowledge, we have the resources. And also, moving from the margin to the center is that we appoint young cabinet members. We have already done that under His Excellency regime, and we want that to continue. We want young people in cabinet, and also we want to have a youth-led review committee for national policy. Youth-led review committee for national policy. What does that mean? We need to have a committee wherein, when they appoint young people into these various institutions, board rep, we will have a committee that will review their impact, their outcomes, because it is from that impact and outcome we give more spaces and
the creative director, like of a brand that has gone through global. Most young youth here, they want to start big. If you are starting small, what's your attitude?
That's a good question. I think we all have this dream of being in places, getting your brand somewhere. Just for context, it took me 12 years to build Lab. So I started working at Nike. I quickly realized I have to learn the trade to be able to go big. And all the skills that I learned from Nike, I kind of apply to what I've learned today. So I would say, be patient. If you can find a mentor or someone that you know is doing what you want to do, try to see if you can contact them and learn a little bit from them. And I think we have, for young kids, we have this rush of wanting to be successful straight away. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time. And I think we have to first learn our trade. And I think through learning of your trade, you'll be able to find a path where you want it to. When I finished university, I was desperate to work for Nike. I tried 3 years, I couldn't get in. What I did, I was like, okay, let me learn a bit of communication skills. I went to work in a call center, dealing with people. And through that, I learned so much along that way from being patient, transparent, communication. I finally landed a job in design. And through that, again, working at Nike, I realized I wanted to tell a story about Sierra Leone. How rich our culture is. I wanted to tell stories about our textiles and our community, young people. And I can do it at Nike. So again, that's another thing that I made a decision to move on from Nike, to be alone, to be able to tell those stories without any restriction. And that's why I do now. I try as much as I can to tell Sierra stories to put us on the map. So my advice is be patient, try to learn from people that you know are doing something that you want to be here. Again, I repeat, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time. So be patient, please.
The creative strategy once from government. What are those things that government must do to help the youth rise into power?
All right. The number three is not my favorite number, but yet again, I have three things to say. So the first thing is the government must adopt youth mainstreaming. We have loud voices talking about gender mainstreaming, and rightly so. We frequently hear about human-centered design, but it's also equally important that we have the same energy, talking about youth-centered design. We've heard it repeatedly today that we cannot design Africa without Africans. And so it's important that our leaders at different fora, different stakeholders should emphasize carrying youth along in designing programs for young people. Now, the second thing I want to say also is that it's important that the barrier of entry be reduced for young people. Again, I also salute His Excellency the President for doing exactly that. When I saw the Honorable Minister coming to share, seeing he's a young person, it made me, joyful. And so governments and leaders across Africa must reduce the barrier of entry for young people to be in, spaces of leadership. And finally, it's important that leadership does not see mentorship solely as a favor, but service to the next generation. And so when we embed mentorship into our organizational systems, it becomes a thing that we begin to measure. The same way we measure profit in businesses, the same way we measure other things, we can begin to measure how many people have we mentored. What has it translated into? And so that's us taking mentorship away from doing young people a favor to doing the world and a generation a service. I think that mindset shift is very significant and will impact how we approach mentorship going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our panelists. I know time is running out. The youth in this room, these people, the leaders here, still here, please engage them, ask them different questions. Our distinguished guests, thank you so much. This is the last session. I trust you learned things from this session that will get back to your platforms, communities, and countries that will help you to live the future of African youth. Thank you.
If you think they have done well, you can clap and then you better. Please clap for them again. The future is for the prepared, not for those who wait until ready. I've asked for mentorship, and there was a line that touched me and said, Rome was not built in a day. I know they told somebody once who was trying to build a house for his father. When they told him Rome was not built in a day, he said, leave me alone, I'm building a small hut for my father. I'm not building Rome. The challenge with that young man was that he was a little bit into alcohol. And we advised him and said, do you know that alcohol can kill you slowly? He said, I know, and I'm not in a hurry. Well, there is one story that we must continue to re-echo, and that is the story of a very young village boy who spent his days where dreams are often born far away from cameras and capital cities. He journeyed like a canoe pushing against the tides of Sierra Leone River, steady, determined, and refusing to sink. And as a young man, while many were still searching for direction, he chose the rough boots of discipline, structure, and national service. He entered an environment where dawns were early and choices were hard. Leadership was measured not by speeches, but by the endurance, by courage, and responsibility. And long before the State House lights, presidential convoy, there was a man learning how to stand firm in storms. And today is his birthday. I think we should clap for the president. Thank you very much, sir, for providing leadership, and for us, the story that we need also to learn from. Before we take the next very important session, we have a lady who's been prepared from the fields of Freetown to the reading of an Atlantic tide. She arrives like a drumbeat wrapped in poetry, a young mouthpiece of the African spirit, speaking leadership like firelights in the dark, guidance like a lighthouse across the waters of longing. Her body, her words do not barely speak. They sail, they rise, and they awaken. She's the voice of the young African, clothed in reading and soul. Please, ladies and gentlemen, permit me as we welcome our poet for today, Monica Jackson.
The youth are the leaders of tomorrow. See how that sounds? Empathy on the tomorrow is exactly where we have been kept behind the curtain. Building a future that doesn't feel sustainable or self tomorrow. But I hope they know that these curtains are shared curtains. The door is not fully locked, we've been peeping. And through these doors we can see the holes, the cracks, the patterns feeding us in circles, the puzzles they are yet to fix, mistakes kept on repeat. Through these doors, we could see buildings not too far from crumbling, foundation shaking because the concrete was never made sustainably. Through these curtains, we could see the trash they've been piling and piling and piling for the leaders of tomorrow to clean. And somehow, before we even begin, we must first fix the mistakes we did make, the envelopes we did take, the partnerships we did create, the hands we did check, the debts we never borrowed but still have to repay. Africa is a young continent, not in age but in energy, brilliance, creativity, audacity, a fire that refused to sit still. But for far too long, we carry the title that never belonged to us. The lazy youth, the entitled youth, the generation that wants everything to be the youth that are too inexperienced to rule, to lead, to make decisions. But tell me, how can we measure experience in a generation that survives a system that wasn't designed for them? How can we... Okay, let me just stop. Can we stop the clapping for now? We're in the chamber. That's the message at first, okay? Good. How can we measure experience in a generation that survives systems that wasn't designed for them? How can leadership grow? The opportunity to lead, to become is always postponed. We are in the photos, but never in the policies. Maybe the campaigns, the blog posts, but not the reality. We are the content, never the project. We smell the food, but never get to eat the food. We smell the aroma, but never get to eat the food with their nets. But again, oh my God, sorry. The sad experience is the reason why young graduates are sitting at home jobless, struggling to survive. Meanwhile, the bills do not wait, expectations rising, struggles in society scrambling up into depression. The ground is not even level for entrepreneurs to stand up, thrive on a system that was sometimes designed for us, that wasn't designed for us. But again, with all the struggles, the hurdles, the youth are breaking the codes, breaking the molds, defrosting the growth and mindset that are fed to us. A generation so strong, everybody's creating now, building now, transforming now. We are CEOs, not just as a title, but as a mantle of responsibility, leadership. We are adding to the continent economy. And with the internet, we are no longer complaining, we are becoming. Don't you see we are ready? We are in the street. We are building companies before graduation. We are the job creators, impacting lives, changing lives. We are making something out of almost nothing. We are growing. Don't you see? We are ready. In this same soil, without nursing textbooks could never teach. We built dreams in a continent that dared us to think small and still become big, turning pain into strategies and struggles into testimonies. We are rewriting the narratives that were never ours to begin with. But again, the goal is not to replace the old, to work with them, ride with them, build with them. No more shrinking to fit in our dictated system, because maybe wisdom and innovation were never meant to compete. No, that's not how it should be. Maybe tradition was always supposed to shake hands with transformation. In this industrial revolution, where AI, blockchain is the new language, new idea, new solution, we are the bridge between today and the future one. And to say, we are not asking permission to step into Africa's future, because guess what? Leadership is not a battle to be passed on when you're tired. It's a fire that should be shared before it burns out. We are not the leaders of tomorrow, we are now. So no more shrinking, no more hiding, no more peeping. We're stepping up, stepping out, stepping forward, and because Africa is the land of prosperous, tradition, and happiness, that our leaders give us a blessing. And even if they don't, we're still stepping.
Yeah, nalipalika now. Yeah, nalipa now. Yeah, Lisa. I'm sorry.
One-on-one fireside chat with His Excellency, President Maada. Today is very much the realization, also the acknowledgement of this long-held belief that what comes next for Africa must be driven by Africa's young people, and that African leadership must move beyond the old guard. New cohorts turbocharge change. We all know the data points, how many young people there are, we know that the majority of young people in take the reins of power to make the world a better place. Let's dig into this a little more actively. The welcome to stage, His Excellency,
Don't push coming for small, yeah. That's small. I want to push coming small. Okay, okay.
Tell the truth.
Early this morning they woke me up actually. For every birthday, they know the reward for waking me up early in the morning. And so this morning they are the first two to be there today.
Well, I would like to add in my own words of congratulations. Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Let's get into the conversation. It is about the young people. Is there a moment that you can point to in which it all became clear to you that you must champion this issue? Is there one specific moment when it is something that gradually came to you?
Thank you very much, Aisha, and to every young person in this room. I've had to spend most of my life of public life. And I started as a youth. And for most of the accomplishments, actually, I did when I was a youth. If we talk about democracy, I was only 32. If we talk about finishing the war, I was only 32. If we talk about responsible leadership for this country, I was also in the early 30s, in fact in the late 20s. So I've had to do most of the things that speak well about my character, like democratic leadership, when I was only a youth. Because I did very well. And I know that with maturity and responsibility, the youth, given opportunities, can also rise to the occasion. That is why I have never hesitated in challenging them to be part of what I'm doing and to mentor at the same time. So for me, it's not an experience. Well, all the issues you've been talking about, these are things I have told myself when I was only a youth. So there are responsibilities that are professional, and these are the ones that you challenge. And so they serve as an example for the rest of society. So I believe in
One thing that's come up again and again today is the concept, the word courage. And courage as it applies to you. What does that mean to you? As someone who became a leader at a young age and had to exercise courage, what does that mean to you in a room full of young leaders? Speak on that.
how I came into politics. I normally say I stumbled into it. It was never my desire, nor my discipline. But there are moments when somebody has to rise up to the occasion. And when democracy has failed in this country, we nearly had 3 decades of authoritarian regime, of one-party rule. We needed to change that. And democracy had failed. There were no elections, and when elections were held, they were never representative of the will of the people. It took courage for me and my colleagues to say, this is not working for us. We have to change it. I put my life on the line. That is courage. And maybe we can say it is the strength, the inner strength. But again, another example of courage was, after having served for 4 years, we had promised this nation that we will go back to constitutional rule. It took courage to respect that. Make no mistake, there are, quite a lot around power. Very few people who want to voluntarily leave it. Except there are constitutional provisions will and courage. I exercise. I say, yes, I'm only 32, but I did promise this nation that I will bring about constitutional order. There is war, every reason to stay on, but there should be courage, and that courage must be anchored in your patriotism. I love my country. I made this, promise that I will change the direction. I have not finished, but my word is my bond. That
that courage to walk away from this office is one that I will challenge. Not many around the world have that courage.
And so it begs the next question, that as you sit as the head of ECOWAS, many of your colleagues display that hesitation to move on. Power is still concentrated in the hands of, I think the average age after leaving is something 60. There is this resistance and there is this perception that African leaders do not let go of power, which sets you at odds in some ways because you are championing a new law. I wonder how that goes across, or how that when you're sitting around the table at ECOWAS.
Well, it makes my work difficult. The uncomfortable truth is, it is difficult to let go.
Why is that? Is it the opinion?
After this meeting here, I can get to the other end of the time in 10 minutes. You try to do it. You take the whole day, but don't give me a leave. So many things around the office, that make it really enticing and difficult to let go. You have to have the discipline some previous speakers have spoken about, and the courage to know that leadership is actually stewardship. It should start and end one day. I don't have monopoly over ideas. And there are quite a lot of other people that we can train, and that is why I believe in the agency of the youth. If we can mentor them, bring them on board, and train them, they will be better leaders tomorrow. So leadership is a fear. They see us stumble and get up, and you don't have to go to any school to learn leadership. You have to be part of it. His Majesty made a statement which is so important. Leadership have had to follow me all throughout my life. And I did not know what I was doing at that time, all throughout my life, was actually stuck in the minds of people. And so when it comes to resume, a lot of people write a long page, I went attended this conference, I have this degree. My peers know exactly what I did from the day I was in school. And they see me as a leader, naturally. And they've never hesitated. And because I took the bold action I took, so even when I came back after nearly 20 years, when I let go, people said, did he forget something at 8,000? Why is he coming back after 20 years? But there are people who also believe that he is a noble person. He said, I will be here only for 3 months. And believe me, I stayed only for 3 months, conducted the election under very difficult circumstances. I had every reason to stay on. The war was on, but I said democracy is not going to be perfect. But I've given my word. I have to conduct elections and handle that. And
Now you said that there is no university to go to per se for leadership, but can you speak to specifically actions your government is taking to prepare young leaders in this country for hopefully moving into that pipeline of leadership?
the future is with us here, the youth. But we have to prepare and invest in them if we want a better future. I want a better future because that will be my most vulnerable age when I'm older. That is their future. That is when they will be in charge. I normally joke with them. I say I don't want a a doctor who is not well trained to go for my kidney and end up taking my heart out. So they are not well trained. The quality of life we are going to enjoy depends on how much we invest in the young people. Their education, the example we said, they are quality, because we are going to be, as we are living through a period when they will be in charge. So, from governance to professions like medicine, nurses, and all of this, it depends. If we give them quality education, fit for purpose education, I'm actually catering for my future. That is how selfish I am. Don't give your child the steering if you're not taught him or how to drive. You will end up in the gutter. So that is the analogy. We have to. It is incumbent. Don't talk about legacy if you don't have a very prepared, a well-prepared team that begins that legacy. It is the youth who have the advantage of taking bold actions. And for that youth who is responsible and educated, he or she is going to make sure that any action is calculated. Not just a random action, this is the policy law. They will make sure it is informed by data. So a responsible young man and woman uses data responsibly and has a huge injection or infusion of patriotism. These are the leaders that we are going to look for. So they have the audacity. Now I think about my age, my children, my future. If I were to serve at the front, I will not do most of the things I did before. I had to serve at the front lines in Liberia and in Sierra Leone. And it was only because I was a youth. When I think about it now, I'm afraid. Why did you even do this? I was a crazy youth, with a lot of energy. For me, it was about saving my nation. There is a moment in life when you need that iota, that injection of youthfulness to be able to take bold actions. We become too careful when we are old.
But you talk about both, and you talk about that love of country that drives you to that front line, and you do crazy things. I'm a great believer in that we learn from mistakes, and that's what tends to resonate when we hear a story. So I'll ask you this. When you look back at your leadership journey, share one mistake that you may have made as a leader that people can learn from.
When I was only 28 when I became vice president for that way. And for the most part, people us this young man. And for me, being called a young man or this bubble as the vice president, I found that really very annoying, to say the least. But I had the opportunity to look at my picture recently. I was very serious talking to this nation. And if anybody of that area was here before me today, I I will not take him seriously. So it was not the best of things to think that people thought little of me. I was really young. You're talking about 29, and this was a very tumultuous period in our history. We had a war, and I had a transition to do. So I had to bring the war at least to the temporary part. At the same time, bring about democracy. These are two difficult things, extremely difficult, especially when you have these old politicians. And they keep calling me Bobo, this Bobo, you don't know it's different. But really, now that I've seen the pictures, I understand where they're coming from. I made a mistake that they're calling me. I was 30 years old
some people still want to think that this is the little boy that you are. But I've made very important contribution to democracy, to peace in this country, and to moving the conversation beyond just representative democracy, but to liberal democracy. And that is what we are consolidating. And taking Sierra Leone, changing the image and a narrative of Sierra Leone as a war-torn country, Ebola country, taking us back to the international stage, serving on the Security Council, being the champion of us to go back to be for Africa to be represented in the permanent category of the Security Council. And the many things we are doing, we shied away from even leading our own sub-region. This is the first time the president of Sierra Leone is the chair of the authority. For those of you who want to lead, not just in politics, I encourage you to start to write your resume by your actions. And it is even worse today, because today, whatever you do is recorded all around the world. Whether you like it or not, one day it's going to be reproduced and brought to your face. You said it. What do you say now? And it's so difficult to watch your own face and say no, and start to find a way to change it. So it is a more difficult world to navigate, which means you have to be careful. If you want to be a leader, know what you say now. Even as students, even as young people, your peers will produce verbatim and your pictures digitally, what you said and what you did, and that will get you out of the race, and that will make it possible. When I was trying for this position, some people said, "Oh, you were part of the leadership that was hacking, people's names and all of this." Said my record is so plain. I challenge you, Mr. Journalist. Don't give me the task. If you are a good journalist, bring all the pictures, bring one instance, and I will leave this race. And as I speak to you today, there is nothing like that. That is why I'm
And in developing the philosophy that is built on one's word, built on courage, built on not taking the easy road, was that done with the help of a mentor? Have you had a mentor? Do you have a mentor now? The president have a
I grew up with a single mom who unfortunately did not have the opportunity to go to school. But she was so passionate about education. And she was so strong and just kept telling me, believe in yourself, believe in the Lord, and everything will be fine. And there are instances where when I did not like to hear her say that, because even when you go with Peter complain, I want to go and fight. Say, do you trust in God? The Lord finds better for you. Leave it to Him. So she made me to believe that I will be a great person, but I needed to work very hard. And as a peasant farmer, I had to work with her in the farms. And so the journey I've had to travel from over 200 kilometers away from Africa has not been a straight and smooth one. The gold we wear goes through blast furnace, and it is actually the heat that makes it look very good. So it is important that you are patient. Somebody mentioned it earlier. If you want to be a leader, be good at what you do. For me, I think mentor, I did not see much of my dad, only my mom and my elder sister later on. But I went to this great school.
man has taken man. When man has taken you, the world will buy you. That has definitely going. So really, I think the key mentioned that there are times when you are just meant for the job, and without the mentor, the Lord grooms you for that, and you don't even know you are being groomed for that. But when I look back, so many things I did, and for the most part, also I shied away from leadership, and it has pursued me until I stumbled into it. That is why I say that a lot of things you do will go into your resume, public resume. So if you want to be a leader, make sure you watch your every step. Know what to say, know what not to say. And you have to respect people, you have to respect values. I can go to the bottom of the ladder and speak to anybody I'm comfortable. And I can go to anywhere in the African house and speak comfortably, because I've traveled the full length of human experience from the bottom to the top. In fact, I just want to encourage every young person. Again, I think why I like young people is the fact that I've done most of what I did when I was a young person. I was the youngest, so I didn't have a younger brother or sister. So anybody I see that is younger, I consider them the younger brother or the sister. And I think it's incumbent for me to bring them up, in terms of scale, in terms of knowledge, in terms of sharing, and I think that is what we do. They should be in government. They are more than 60% of the population. Democracy. I'm not inviting you to go and take over. Then you have the capital. We will give you the knowledge. But we are still holding some of the things you need to get to this office. But we have to train you, even in our own selfish interests, so that you will be better leaders when we will be aging and we will die more comfortably than our forefathers sometimes.
Do you have in your head
Okay.
cabinet? Wait. How do you measure success in terms of leadership development?
Well, for a very long time, the youth affairs minister, my minister, chief minister, many other ministers of agriculture, minister of communication. What I've done is to combine two big or great components to the future of this country, or the world, or Africa, women and the youth. You cannot hold on to the potential of women and not develop it so that we can go at a faster pace, especially when we are lagging behind in Africa and in Syria, and expect that you are going to achieve the results you want. To go at a faster rate, you have to bring the women on board. They are more than 50% of our population, and then we get them in the kitchen. Although some of them don't very well, it is just now we are bringing them apart. Since we let them see it, we find cooks, and some men are better cooks, Women are patient, Why I combine the two is I see the potential, the latent potential which we need to unleash, and it takes empowerment knowledge, with resources and the space by us or with us. The mentorship is important because it affirms to you that yes, this young person I brought along is learning from me. And the society, and that's why I always tell the young people, the world is watching whether my experiment is working. You better behave yourself.
are you working towards combining emphasis on adaptation with regard to turbocharge the development of leadership among the youth? And again, we're not just talking about political leadership, so I am interested. Do you see that as something happening that you want us to do more formal partnerships with other countries?
That will not be an easy topic, especially where we meet. And you tell your contemporaries that they should give the way to the young people. You may not be invited to that forum. I am challenging them that there is agency in being a youth, and you should find ways to express that in a way that is responsible, in a way that is going to make us comfortable to put you in front. I'm not going to allow you because you're a youth to drive me like you're crazy. No, I have to know that you're a responsible driver. I've told you already, my future, the future is, their future is when I will be old, when I will need so much support from the system. So if I don't make sure they are very good, better than myself, I always believe that I don't have monopoly, and that I could have been better if I was mentored, maybe. But I wasn't. I had to mentor myself, for the most part. Maybe God too. Yes. So, it's a difficult topic in certain. Yes. I've told you the trappings of government, and power itself can be quite intoxicating, and it takes a good dose of being a responsible leader, courage to take the bold decision and say, no, I have a limit. Stewardship has the beginning and the end. I have done my bit. Let mentor them, bring them along, so that we are not handing over something to them and they crash it the next day. And that is the only way, mentoring, which all of you have said, we must bring you along, and you must take that work seriously. Watch our every step, watch where we stumble and fall, and how we get up and continue going. What does it take for you to do that? It takes you being part of it, apprenticeship. You're not going to be good at it on the first day, but I will assure you, just being around us, you know where we have fallen, and you know how to prevent yourself from throwing down that road that you know has not worked for you.
I don't find you to speak really candidly about the experience of philosophy and how it was developing a new cross with leaders. At this point, please bear with us because we're going to open it up to the audience so that you can ask questions. Okay? And so, what we're going to do now, a little bit of housekeeping. I will call upon some people who I know have questions that they'd like to ask His Excellency. When I call your name, please make yourself know. When you get the microphone, please introduce yourself and say where you're from, and then ask the president your questions. So, the first question is Genesis Perez. Where are you, Genesis?
Can I do something?
Absolutely.
I used to avoid difficult questions there on the paper. If in school, I will go for the easier one. Especially when you have the 5 hours, you're saying that I will go for the easier one. So don't ask very difficult questions.
Genesis, where are you from? Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, His Excellency, Mr. President, His
Her Excellency, First Lady, I am Genesis Suni from the Anna Walsh Memorial School. Well, I have a question for you, sir. And my question is, what inspired you, Mr. President, to launch the free quality education, school education program?
Thank you.
For a lot of people, when we talk about empowerment, they think about maybe financial resources and all of those things. But the greatest thing we can do for the young people is knowledge, education. Like the king said, in all its forms, you cannot survive. Or no, we don't even want to survive. We want you to succeed in the 21st century. And so our best investment is to make sure that educated, fit for purpose education, so that you can navigate an extremely difficult world. It is an extremely difficult world, I must say, not to scare you, but to prepare you. The world is tough, and therefore you make sure that you have quality education. And for most of us in this country, what stood between the kids or the parents and school, sending their kids to school, maybe just $20 for the year. I can't accept that. I refuse to accept that. So, as heavy as the burden is, I took on the financial burden as a state, so that we can pay for every child to be able to go to school for basic and senior secondary education. And maybe for the young lady Genesis, I think we have made even further allocation for girls who pursue STEM courses to go as far as university, because we want to bring the women at par with their male counterparts. So, to answer your question directly, I don't want $20 to stand between any human being and the most important asset you can have, education, in this world. No, not under my regime. I will pay that, and I've paid it consistently, and we have not just stopped there. Maybe I need to add to. We know that some kids go to school, their parents are not well enough to support them. Yeah. So we've added core textbooks for them. We've added teaching materials for them. We've brought in the, school feeding. And we in some of the areas, we have also brought in transportation, school buses. And that is all within this short period when the world is really encountering serious shocks, and we are having to deal with that. But our determination, no excuses enough to leave anybody to drop out of school for $20. We have taken that burden. Not easy, but we've not let them down on that at all.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next question, Abdul Razak Dunguya. Where are you? Please stand and introduce yourself. Where are you from?
Hello, His Excellency, President, Our Excellency, First Lady, and all protocols observed. I am Abdul Razak Dunguya from the Great Central Secondary School. By going further, I'd love to wish Mr. President happy birthday. Well, Mr. and Mrs. President, Mrs. B.O., happy birthday. So my question is, how does it feel to be a president at a time when there are many global challenges?
Thank you. Thank you.
The simple answer is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. We are standing on a shifting sand. We never know what happens tomorrow. It takes just a statement for us to dismantle everything that we've planned for the past couple of years. The world is in a state of flux. As you can see, we are having to forgo tax revenue because of the war in the Middle East. We have no hands in that. We don't even know why it's still going on. But we have to pay for it. And it affects you because the little that your parents were using to provide for the house on a daily basis is not enough anymore because of the inflation. We have had to fight to bring inflation down from the COVID time from about 55% to 4% few months ago. That has been completely dismantled. Not because of any fault of ours, but because of what is happening around the world, totally out of our control. And sometimes what makes it difficult is we want to cushion the effect, but we also, as a government, but we also have a limit because we want to continue to pay for the kids to go to school.
Other social amenities, we cannot cushion the effect. So we put up prices. And when you do that, the opposition is going to tell you, this government is not serious, they are just putting up prices. And of course, you feel it, your parents feel it, everybody, we feel the pain. And so it's extremely difficult for us to be able to cater for the needs of society when the goalpost keeps changing all the time. Because we are living in an extremely difficult world. Remember, after I came in 2018, and by 2022, we had the coronavirus. We were hardly settled in office, and we had to ride that rough wave. We were barely finished with that. Then we had the Ukraine crisis, and then the disturbances with supply chain, and all of these things. So it's always difficult. If we have, I will boldly say that at the moment we don't have an international system that regulates our activities. We hope that we'll be able to restore one as soon as possible. But at the moment, we are almost navigating without a leader in the world. You are fortunate to have me. I'm a very good driver. When you stop, because I've never lived in a very smooth period. I lived during the war time, and now it's not war in Sweden, but wars everywhere around the world, and nobody to regulate it. So, you know you're in the same pair of hands with me at the end.
Precious family.
Can we check the microphone?
Greetings, Mr. President, Madam First Lady, and all protocols observed. My name is Aja Aminata Precious Bandi, the Communications Officer of Afrovate Tech Hub. My question is, Mr. President, you have made many remarkable achievements to empower women and girls here in Sierra Leone. What is your personal motivation behind these achievements? Thank you very much.
About the achievements, I think it's easier for me to provide the legal regulatory framework and also the legal ecosystem also to empower women. And I am typically complimented by the efforts of the First Lady who goes on the ground to the hands of our girls, making sure that these older men don't tamper with our girls. Menstrual hygiene is something that is a taboo. In most of Africa, I don't find it a taboo. I can comfortably talk about it on the dinner table because it's a natural thing. I don't know why the men and people in leadership find it difficult to talk about it, and they leave that to the young kids to have to understand what is happening to them and to deal with it.
and do it the wrong way, and sometimes end up with lifelong illnesses that will affect their reproductive health. So it's difficult to get men to accept that we have to provide space for women on the table. And it's even more difficult for them when it comes to young people. The leadership class or the elites don't have space. I like the point. So they walk, they are thinking, they see everything that we're doing. And if we don't invite them quickly, they will just jump on it. I look forward and I know that they will jump. That's why I'm bringing that. So it don't surprise me. I bring that to the table. So instead of they jumping and coming and surprisingly, I bring them along. Because really, to be fair, democracy is the rule by the majority. So what is holding the youth? When you have more than 60% of the population, maybe you need to act together. You need to tell us you are more responsible. You need to tell us that you will be safe in that space if you lead. I mean, when they talk about leadership, it's actually at all levels, not just in governance, with all walks of life. So, the supporting women for me, I grew up, I only knew women in my household and know the power they have. And if we empower them, they can unleash that energy, and it will make the work lighter for us men. So when I said at least 30% of women in parliament, I found it difficult to get the men to accept. But we've made it a law, not just in parliament, but in all spheres of human endeavor in this country. I get to roll it out fully. But I remember my Nigerian political colleagues asking me, how did you get that in your parliament? So that we not see it will not enter this, we will not allow that to come here. And so it's the same thing for early marriage, for young girls. So how did you do it? How are you doing this? You create coalitions with people. Even for when Maada was campaigning for prohibition of early marriage, we had to get the young men to be part of it. I am a he for she. We had to get some. So they are the culprits. These young guys, they are very hot. They work the whole day and at night. They still have a lot of energy when we are sleeping. We disturb the guys. So we told them, you have to put a break. We want them to be partners. We want to have a partner at home who brings in and you bring in. And so the morning does not fall on you alone. I always see it from that selfish point of view. If I tell a woman she's going to bring, when I'm tired, she will bring in. When she's not working, I will bring in. So I am a very selfish person. So I make sure that we build together and then we leave. So what has been easy for me was that I've been able to convince my government and the many actors that shape that space to believe that we have to bring the women for along. And for that bit, going out there, putting it out there, hands up our girls, Madam has been very good at that. And she implements what I'm working on at the national level in terms of laws and all of that. And a lot of men are afraid now to tinker with our girls. And the guys are also embodied they can speak up. Not so girls. That was not a loud voice. I said you are bold. Are you bold now? Yes. Have you been embodied by the First Lady's great work across the country? Yes. We need you to come along. So that is why I do what I do, and that is why it's been easy for me to convince the rest of the government And it's a whole of government approach. It's never easy because nobody wants to give space for any other person to come in here.
The last two questions. First of them, Fatima Barrett, where are you?
Greetings, Your Excellency, Madam First Lady, and all observers. My name is Fatima Barrett, a graduate of my farm and also Director of Foreign Affairs and International Relations, National Union of Sierra Students, NUS. Your Excellency, I am a young graduate from my farm. What advice do you have for young graduates who are entering the corporate world? Thank you.
Have you entered the corporate world or entry? Have you been given entrance? I want to know where you are exactly so that I can speak. Say again.
I haven't.
Okay, so they're still asking for your experience?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, this is, I think, an opportunity to speak to the private sector and to all other heads of departments. Even if we are to make it free, let's give them the experience. She wants to enter the corporate world, but she's being asked for experience. Where is she going to get it? On the street? Sitting at home? No. We have to open the doors. They said we are gatekeeping. We will go about our gatekeeping. You know, and what we are going to do is never easy. I represent Africa so that we can have the seat at the Security Council on a permanent, in the permanent category. We know, for those who follow international affairs, you have the P5, the ones with the veto power. We have been knocking on that door for the past 20 years. Nobody is watching. But I'm not going to let it, I'm not going to give in. What we do, you continue to be noisy, constructively. You make sure your point is made at every given opportunity. Africa is 1.4 billion people. You can't have an international organization and create a club there and not allow Africa to be a part of that. That is the campaign I champion as a seated leader. So, for you, I listen to most of your representatives speak. It is representatives from different parts of the world, this continent actually. The entry requirements are always tough. And that is why, again, I will say, for the quality of what you present as the person, be bold, know your stuff. So when you go for interview, they have no option but to know that there is a potential here. Maybe we need to develop that potential. And one thing I'm going to speak against is cheating in academic institutions. I will never lose that opportunity to talk about that. People think they can cheat their way to, just get the certificate. I have a double master's. But when you appear before a panel and you cannot even express your double master's, they are going to kick you out. Know your stuff. Be confident. That is why there is no shortcut to quality education. You have to burn the midnight candle. You have to study hard. You can't cheat with O-level, wax and all this, you will meet the panel. They will interview you. And from your very first sentence, they will know if this is a material for entering this corporate structure. So, your best bet is make sure you are a woman of substance as you are, bold, know your stuff, and make sure that you don't give up easily. Don't give in to all the hurdles that are going to appear before you. Be strong at all times. You will definitely succeed.
Final question from Alpha.
Good afternoon, His Excellency. I am Alpha Umaru, a final year student at the State Technical University of Sierra Leone, Kenema. I This is actually a very personal question. It is very personal because I'm an ambitious youth who one day love to become a president of this country. All right. Let's listen, please. So, Mr. President, what advice will you give me as an ambitious man? Thank you.
Don't be over ambitious. I like your ambition and the audacity to want to be here. I have already given the advice, you have to watch every step that you take today so that your peers are going to be the one to speak of who you are. They are going to say, Mr. Ba is a great leader. From college, he led very well, we can make him the leader of this country. So your best bet is to clean your work, the skeleton if you have any, so that by the time you present yourself, there is no skeleton in the cupboard, and you make sure that leadership is a tough one at the national level. It takes time. We have 8.5 in the population. It's going to take one man to be here at any one point in time. In sociology, it's a general term of mankind. Mankind, that is mankind. Mr. Ba, just wait for me to finish my term. That's why I'm saying, don't be over ambitious. Wait for me, I will not too long from now. It will be up for grabs. And it's going to take the whole nation to elect who comes here, be it a woman or man or mankind. So it's a great ambition. For those of you who want to be in the public, only one man or woman can sit here. One human can sit here at any one point in time. So you are challenged to know what to do. And it's very tough. I will tell you, it's very tough. It's not by luck that you get here. Everyone who works are going to make that decision. And I'm watching you from now on.
Excellency, I want to thank you for being so generous with your time on your birthday, for speaking with so much honesty, so openly, and with so much care. I do have a couple of gifts for you. I'd like to invite to the stage, these gifts have come from France. I'd like to invite to the stage Ramesh Saxena, Secretary General, University of Nairobi Students Association, and Juan Guerra, President of the EW Council for that decade. Sorry, I didn't think it was late. I'm sorry. It was late.
Here for what's up, eh? Yeah, for what's up. Campus.
For the sake of transparency,
and be as transparent and as accountable as I can. Bringing a gift to His Excellency, along with happy birthday wishes from East Africa. This is a bronze. It contextualizes mentorship within the Maasai community. As you can see, there is a young child here. Then there is a gentleman here. We'll call this a child. So there's a child here, and there's an old man here. So this is called Mwana. Mwana in Kiswahili is child. So the father and the child are looking at others, other Maasai children, old children grazing. But now the context is, this child is still very young and cannot herd alone, cannot hold the staff as firm as this one is holding it. So it is upon the father to guide the child until the child attains the age at which they can now hold the staff on their own and they can be given the cattle to go away with. Yeah, and so I like to quote people, and one person said that if we have seen far, we have done so by standing on the shoulders of giants, and today we are here standing on your shoulders, and we are very thankful. Happy birthday.
I was in Nairobi at this time yesterday. In Kenya we say Asana Asante.
And with that, President, we will release you from the stage. So before he leaves, I want you to make more noise than you've made in the
Please put your hands together for the president. Thank you very much. Please, another round of applause for the president. In a few minutes we'll be gone, but let me also remind you that we have two artists who will be joining us for the concert in the as a strategic partner and hero child. Please put your hands together. Well, I really want us to clap for that young man who says he wants to be president. Please put your hands together. Before I left home, we dealt with a case where a young man who was made a the next of kin, took the person who made him next of kin to court. And the judge asked him, "What's the problem? You are just the next of kin." He said, "Yes, my lord." He said, "With the way this man is spending money, by the time he leaves, there may not be anything for the next of kin. So please, my lord, I want you to just give him an order of mandamus, asking him to limit the way he's spending his money." Please put your hands together for him. He knows that there's a whole lot that can be done, but the president is giving him what he needs to do properly. So for the goodwill messages, we'll have very important messages coming. And immediately after that, we will go ahead to take a message of thank you. But the first, ladies and gentlemen, is one who has worked very closely with the president. Well, many young Africans relate to him as he represents a modern African leadership profile, science-driven, globally exposed, tech-oriented, and deeply connected to youth development and innovation. He's a technocrat with the mind of an innovator, an educator shaping futures beyond classrooms, a youth-driven leader helping wire governance into the future. Like a steady operating system behind a powerful machine, he serves as a strong support structure to the vision of Mr. President, connecting ideas, policies, and people with precision to purpose. May I therefore ask to welcome Honorable Dr. David Sedley, the Chief Minister of the Republic of Sierra Leone, as he comes over to the meeting. Please put your hands together for us.
Your Excellency, Madam First Lady, Her Excellency, former President, the Right Honorable Baroness Scotland, Your Royal Majesty, Ministers, distinguished guests, good afternoon. I can give a goodwill message about His Excellency President Julius Maada, you as a friend, an employee, a Sierra Leonean, but today actually I will give one as a mentee, a true testament to who President Bio is and why we're all here today. The ideas that are being spoken about are not theory for His Excellency. President Bio took me as a 31-year-old tech nerd and appointed me as Sierra Leone's first Chief Innovation Officer, charged with shaping the digital future of our country in 2018. He inspired me to draft a 10-year national innovation and digital strategy, shaping where the country will be in technology. Then he decided that he will put his flagship program of his first time, the free quality school education, and 22% of the country's budget in the hands of a novice 33-year-old politician. But he didn't just put me there and abandon me. He mentored me into becoming the world's best minister. In July 2023, as if he was the man on a mission, he appointed a 36-year-old the Chief Minister of the Republic of Sierra Leone. At that point, to many people, your vision was clear. You were demonstrating to the world that we can speak about the potential of Africa's youth all we want, but to truly deliver on that promise, we must do the talk. That's why you're called Talk and Do. Now everyone knows my story. As Chief Innovation Officer, and yes, it's a true story, I was asked out of the room by a Minister of Government. President Bill decided that he will not only invite me in the room again, he will invite me as a cabinet minister. And when as a cabinet minister, I was asked to give up my seat at the front row, President Bill decided again that not just will he bring me next to him, he will turn on the mic for me to speak. Now as Chief Minister, I get to see and hear the vision, and most importantly, understand the impact that you are delivering on. And quite often you say you want to be remembered as a human capital development president. Your Excellency, please allow me to demonstrate that at a global scale and in very specific stories. Today, Sierra Leone has reduced maternal mortality by 80%. That means President Bill is saving the babies while they are in the wombs of their mothers. Sierra Leone has reduced on-the-fight mortality by over 30%. President Bill is saving the children after they have been delivered from 0 to 5. But it didn't stop there. He has brought in millions of children who he has given free education to from age 5 all the way through to the end of their high school. That is what vision is, and that is what delivery is. That is what it means to turn potential into real power and to unlock youth agency. So, Your Excellency, I will speak about other people, because what you've done to me is not a single isolated story. Lucia is a young woman who President Bill saw on his way to tea in his village. Every time President Bill went, he saw Lucia there, stops one day, puts down his glass, and speaks to this young woman. President Bill decided that he would take Lucia from the streets of Bonn, send her into a bakery school, and today Lucia is a proud business owner employing young people and having a shop on the road. There was a successful Sierra Leonean British designer working in London. One day, on a cold day in London, that designer met His Excellency President Julius Maada. And President Bill invited that young designer to come back to Sierra Leone to contribute to national development. 2 days ago, that designer launched a global collaboration with Adidas and the brand in the streets of Freetown. He saw the potential of what he did wear, and today he has given that power to thousands of other Sierra Leoneans. A young Sierra Leonean whose potential you heard of. He called me to the office, and every year you give me $25,000 for this young person. Every year I go and I ask my PA and they wire this money to this young person who's pursuing his PhD. That person who you've met probably less than 5 times in your life went on to win the Global Student Prize in the world because of your generosity. And that's very much. You also met a young woman at an exhibition center, probably in this hall. You invited her to steakhouse, and you welcomed her and her many mentees into your office a couple of times. And that young woman today has unlocked the potential of hundreds of other young Sierra Leoneans, taking them to compete in Texas. We'll take another team to Geneva, exposing Sierra Leoneans to STEM, AI, and robotics. That young woman, Hawayoki, is one of the people who you have enabled. There are many of these stories. And so today, Your Excellency, in addition to Hawa, Fude, Musa, Lucia, I'm going to introduce to you somebody who you've not met yet, but who you will like. I don't know whether he's here, because I just met him at the start of this program, Suleiman, who is a young kid who I saw on my way here. Bright-eyed Suleiman decided that all he wants to do is to interview. For him, he's, I don't know, he probably is 11 years. I don't think Suleiman is here. But stories like Suleiman, stories like Hawa, stories like Fude, and stories like mine is why, if we had our own way, you will be the president of Sierra Leone forever and ever. Because you taught us two things. One, the leadership is kind, and two, the leadership is generous. You taught us that kind and generous leadership must inspire change in ourselves, and we must be willing to share it with others. That's what I see every day. That's what you inspire me to be: generous, kind, and inspiring. You tell us that we must deliver. And as I wish you a happy birthday, on behalf of all the young Africans and all the young people in the world, I want to assure you, Your Excellency, that together we will deliver a more just and sincere, a more just and inclusive society. Happy birthday, and may God keep you long. Thank you very much.
I thought we were clapping for the chief of chief. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask the chief minister, he said the president has been generous. The chief minister, I just wanted to tell you that I love generous people. Well, thank you very much. And as to say whether you wanted the minister to be there forever, what the president has done very beautifully is to be able to groom people so that whenever he leaves office, whoever takes over will be people who are competent, who are confident, and who can deliver. I think we should clap for the president. The most important part of leadership is to be able to have people who can take over from you. Thank you very much. Well, while we are getting set to cut the cake and do the party, I just want to ask us one thing. For everything that the chief minister said, are we grateful to the president? Okay, can I ask us to just rise and thank him with an applause? Please. If you're truly grateful to the president, just thank him. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for this foresight. And thank you for doing exactly what you thought would be very first beginning. Well, there's someone here who has been prepped to say thank you. And once I had attended a traditional baby naming ceremony. He introduced the man at the beginning, he did the welcome address. When it was time to go, he called his wife to do a very brief vote of thanks, and it was straight to the point. And she said, ladies and gentlemen, when you came in the wine room, my husband told you welcome. It is now my honor and privilege to tell you welcome. It was straight to the point. So, ladies and gentlemen, to deliver the to deliver the vote of thanks. After the vote of thanks, we are going to take the cutting of the cake, and afterwards we are also going to listen to a song. But beyond that, I'm hoping that the President and Cabinet members will be able also to hear from our artists who are already in the house. So, ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, permit me to specially welcome one who has been globally celebrated as young, vibrant, and globally minded. A more delinquent generation that is confident enough to speak across cultures and bold enough to dream beyond borders. He represents the energy of youth, curious, connected, creative, and full of possibility. A young man carrying not just his famous name, but the promise of leadership shaped by exposure, learning, and the spirit of service. In him we see more than African youth, rooted in identity, fluent in the language of the world, and ready for the future. Please put your hands together as I welcome Charlie Bill for the vote of thanks. Please put your hands together. Can we clap for him properly? We told that it's very possible he can deliver this speech in 7, 8, or 9 languages. Please clap for him.
Your Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Maada, Madam First Lady Fatima Julius Maada, His Royal Majesty Ogiame Akuate III, Her Excellency Baroness Patricia Scott, Her Excellency Dr. Joyce Banda, Honorable Faouk Jenna, Honorable Ministers of Sierra Leone, Honorable Speakers, respected dignitaries, partners, organizers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'd also like to repeat that, brothers and sisters. 下午好，尊敬的各位嘉宾，尊敬的演讲者，尊敬的专家、合作伙伴，尊敬的先生们，大家好。It wouldn't be right if I didn't feel appreciated. Okay. It is with great pleasure and deep gratitude that I stand before you all this afternoon to deliver this one of thanks at the close of the African Young Leaders Convergence. Today has truly been an inspiring and impactful experience. We gathered here not just as individuals with different backgrounds, countries, and professions, but as one generation united by a common vision. The vision of a stronger, peaceful, innovative, and prosperous Africa driven by young leaders. On behalf of all participants, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the organizing committee for the tremendous effort accepted in planning and executing the remarkable convergence. Organizing an event of this magnitude requires commitment, sacrifice, teamwork, and passion, and you have demonstrated excellence in every aspect. Thank you for creating such a vital platform for dialogue and working environment. To our distinguished guest speakers, facilitators, moderators, panelists, we are deeply grateful for your insightful presentations, wisdom, and encouragement. Your experiences and ideas have challenged us to think critically, dream boldly, and lead responsibly. The knowledge shared during this convergence will undoubtedly continue to shape our personal growth, leadership journeys, and contributions to society. Special appreciation goes to all the delegates and participants who have traveled from different places just to be here today for this convergence. Your enthusiasm, active participation, thoughtful contributions, and willingness to connect with others has made every session meaningful and engaging. Conversations, ideas, collaborations formed here remind us that Africa's greatest strength lies in its young people. As young leaders, we have been reminded throughout this convergence that leadership is not merely about holding positions. It is about service, integrity, innovation, and creating positive change. We have been encouraged to rise above challenges, to embrace unity despite our diversity, and to become solution providers in our communities and nations. This convergence may be ending today, but the mission continues. The responsibility now rests on each one of us to apply what we have learned, to inspire others, and to work toward building the Africa we all desire. An Africa of opportunity, peace, accountability, entrepreneurship, and sustainable development. I would also like to acknowledge the media teams, protocol officers, technical group, volunteers, and everyone who works behind the scenes. Your dedication ensures the smooth success of this event, and we sincerely appreciate your efforts. As we depart from here today, may we not leave only with memories, photographs, but with renewed determination, stronger networks, and a deeper commitment to leadership. Thank you to everyone who contributed in one way or another to the success of this African Young Leaders Convergence. I would like to once again wish my father a happy birthday on a very special occasion. Your leadership, strength, and dedication inspire not only our families, but this entire nation. On this special day, I wish you good wealth, health, happiness, wisdom, many more years of success and fulfillment. Thank you for your love, guidance, and sacrifice. May this new year of life bring you peace, joy, and continued greatness. Happy birthday, Dad. May God bless Sierra Leone, may God bless our leaders, may God bless the youth of Africa, and may God bless our beloved continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for me. That's how you do a vote of thanks. Well, that's evidence. Every part of Sierra Leone is really working. Please clap for me. And some of us who can not remember what it was like when we were. Thank God for more than life. Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we're gradually coming to this part where we have to cut the cake. And this cake is, I say when you grow at your birthday, they tell you, they give you cake, big cake that you can only eat a little. So it's my honor, ladies and gentlemen, to invite His Excellency to approach his cake. Please put your hands together for him.
On behalf of the children of Sierra Leone, happy birthday, His Excellency. Happy birthday, President Daddy. Happy birthday, His Excellency. We did get you celebrate, we did get you jubilate, we did get you celebrate, we did get you jubilate. Thank you, Daddy.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together. Your Excellency, Excellency is going to hold the knife. Thank you very much. Yes, they know how to hold the knife. It's safer in our hand, so that we don't just cut the cake fully and they are all on the ground. Well, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Are we ready? Okay, we're going to spell what? Game changer. Hello? You will spell love? Yes. Because I felt love since they came here. This is the perfect example of a lovely family, a lovely couple. Please put your hands together for that. So, give me an L. Give me O. Give me V. And then give me E. Wow. This is smooth sailing. Can we have the children join, please? Can we have the children join for? No, if I add S is lost. I don't know where that's. Let's have the children join quickly. Please clap for them. Clap for them. We'll join for this, and we'll take one more. We'll listen to that song. That song earlier was by the Sierra Leone producers and kids from the Sierra Leone Producers Association, and it's a special song for the president's birthday. They were guided and they produced that song, and we'll listen to it. I think we should just play it. Can we hear it, please? Mr. President, this song is for you. You need to hear it before we take the next picture. It's produced by the kids from the Sierra Leone Producers Association. DJ, hold on. Let's do another cut proper. General. Okay. So what do we spell? Family. I think we should still spell love. So this family is actually. Hello? Hello? This knows if I don't want to spell family. Alright, let's spell love again. Give me an L. O. V. 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 E. Alright, this is one of the just take it out.
Happy birthday, happy birthday,
one of those songs.
Still my birthday. We didn't join you celebrate. We didn't join you jubilate. We didn't join you celebrate. We didn't join you jubilate. Thank you, daddy. Thank you, daddy. Thank you for the love, thank you for the care, thank you for the peace of the bounty. Thank you for the love, thank you for the care, thank you for the peace of the bounty.
Alright. Where are the others? The other, very quickly, let's have you come and take a bow. Not part of the original plan, but we have a presidential partner. Please clap for them, clap for them. They're all here and they can the song. Our cameramen, are you here? Please, can we come on stage so we do a special photograph? All cameramen, please, we'll do it this way. We picture this way with the president. While these people will take a bow, cameramen, let's come on stage.
That's that.
Cameramen, let's come on stage.
Love with me.
All cameramen, let's have you on stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll all rise. We'll all rise. Yes, I think most of us on that side can come this way. I've seen empty spaces here. Let's move. Let's move. You can go back to your seat later. Let's move. Make sure there's no space anywhere. Just move. You will come back to your seat. Let's move. Person in charge of that light, can we turn it off so we can have a wonderful picture here? Yes. Can we move this way? Move. So I don't want to see any space. This is one of the best pictures we'll have today. Just move. Don't worry. Teachers allow them to move. Those of us there, you can move this way. I don't want to see any space in the middle. I want you all to be behind the president. This is a beautiful one. Cameraman, tell me when it's good. We are honored to have you all. Those at the back, can we raise our hands? Can we raise them that we support? You can raise both hands. Those at the back. Yes. This is saying thank you, Mr. President. Are you getting the pictures? This is beautiful. And those in front, no, they are snapping. Those in front is good to smile. What you're doing is a good thing for Africa. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, just before we go, before we take the national anthem, we want to just bring the artists so that we can have a feel of who they are, what they represent, and begin the party already before the party. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome one of Sierra Leone's biggest artists. Let's put our hands together as I invite on stage LXG. Please put your hands together. LXG in the building. Youth, are you clapping? Make some noise.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. Number One. Happy birthday to you. Una clap, put your hands together. Aha. Congratulations, sir. You know what I mean? Congratulations. May God make Mr. Baba this soul. Make our go to the beach. Man succeed like you. Make people celebrate the 101 celebratory for the birthday. I am honored to be in your presence. I appreciate you and you know what I mean. And thank you so much. You tell them also. On another side, when I get fourth president to not be able to say. You tell them also. Aha! That's energy. Anyway, this is an election number 1, this is a PTS. We come back and entertain the bar for just 5 minutes more. They will let you now. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. DJ. Check. Are you ready? As for me, I know they're right. Let's go. Okay.
That's all of it is. Be a master. The Lord says, "Hey, I'm an answer." Hey, I don't know what I'm answer. But you don't know me. I don't know you. That's the devil bit. Let's go. One, two.